All right, let's polish up that gem. And we're talking about editing and beta readers here. So some of the benefits of beta readers that I like, it's a fresh perspective. The beta readers are more likely to spot issues that you might have missed or overlooked due to, after you've read your manuscript 80 times, you're going to miss things. Um, you have an option for diverse feedback. You have varying opinions, highlight strengths and weaknesses that you may not have considered before. And it's just a valuable reader's insight. So it's a good gauge on how actual readers will respond to the story, including, like the pacing, the plot twists, and, whether or not they like the story or not. So when you're selecting your beta readers, make sure that you know the target audience for your book and that you're targeting that demographic. You want people who are beta reading that know and understand the genre. For example, I wrote a fantasy book that was geared towards middle grade kids. And so my beta readers were all kids. I found several kids in my daughter's martial arts school that were willing to read the book. And the book was, kind of around it was fantasy, but it involved, martial arts. So it was something that they were already interested in. And I had, a questionnaire that the kids filled out about the book after they finished reading it, things that they liked and things that they didn't like about the book. And that is knowing your audience. On the flip side, the same book on Goodreads had an adult say that it was juvenile. Yes, it was. Because the target audience was not an adult. The target audience was middle grade readers. So, yeah. So it helps you to make sure that you're, getting the right mix of readers to give you the correct feedback for the actual audience who's going to be reading the book. And like I said, having a feedback focus, I had a questionnaire that they filled out, who is your favorite character? What did you like the most about them? And I geared it towards kids, but if you're doing adults, asking, did the story hold your interest from the beginning to the end? Were the characters relatable? Were there any parts that were slow or felt like they dragged on? Were there any confusing parts? That kind of thing. And analyzing your feedback. Again, you're looking for patterns. Does more than one reader say the same thing? Prioritizing your feedback, giving value to suggestions that align with your vision. Sometimes people will make a suggestion and you're like, you know what, that's a really good idea. And then there's other times that you're like, yeah, no, I don't think so. I'm not going that way with that character. But again, staying open-minded and, actually thinking about, well, if I went that way with that character, would that work? Or would it not work with the story? And be prepared. You may get some negative feedback too. Your story is not for everybody. You're going to get negative feedback. You just need to figure out how to come to terms with that. That's going to happen. So you're just going to have to deal with it. And to balance the changes, once you get the reader feedback, determining what changes that you're making and how you're going to execute those and implementing your changes, creating a plan, revising it in little stages, taking one thing at a time, making sure that you're not losing track and you're not, muddling the whole picture too much at one time. So that is all something to consider. And that is just basically, just polishing it up. Does the story make sense? Do the characters make sense? Did people enjoy reading it? Is the pacing right? There's not any slow parts that still need to be addressed. There's not any plot holes. There's not any questions. Did you wrap everything else up in a nice, pretty bow? So those are the things that you're looking for in your beta read.